And okay. Can't. Okay. Thank Hashem, that's we're able to learn Torah every day. In this list of learning, we should have the base of English immediately. We're holding the Messiah and Amud Beis right after the Mishnah. Is that correct? 47b. It says Tanur Rabbanan. See that? Everyone with me? Tanur Rabbanan. Start in the Brisa. We did the Mem Zayin Amud Beis right after the Mishnah. 47b. Start in the Brisa. Nayim she'im nerfa ha'eglah v'achach nimtza ha'ireg she'in paiteres, I said. But if they find the corpse, right, and they don't know who committed the murder, so they do the Eglah Arufah, and then afterwards they find the murderer. So you know what? Maybe we should say that he's already freed from his punishment because we did the Eglah Arufah. We say no. You don't say that. How do we know that from? The earth will not be atoned for the blood that was spilled only with the blood of the one that spilled it. That means that you have to go and bring justice to the actual murder and not just to break the neck of the animal. That doesn't do it. Okay. In the Mishnah, we had a few cases about if one person knew who killed it, another person said, no, how do you know? You don't know. Or if there was a woman that said that I know who killed the person, and another woman says, no, you don't know. So those cases, they said that they did the Eglah Arufah. They would cancel it out, and we say no one knows. Oh, thank you. Then the cases got a little more complicated. One says that I know, and two people told them they don't know. Okay, so then for sure they do the Eglah Arufah, right? Two people said that we know, and one person said they don't. Then that was the only case that we had that you don't do the Eglah. Okay, so the Gemara says that if one person says that I know and another person says that I don't, so we do the Eglah Arufah. They cancel each other at time of the Machashle. What's the reason why they can't? Why we do the Eglah Arufah? We break the neck of the cow because the second person came and said that. Told us that the first person doesn't really know who the murderer is. So time of the Machashle, but pass me a pencil. There would be no one contesting. Then we would believe the single person. How do you know that you trust one witness? Okay. So the Tanur Rabbanan. So in a Brisa, quoting the verse by the Eglah Arufah, it says, we don't know who killed this person. But if we do know, even if there was only one person in the entire world that knows who was the murderer, so then and they don't do the Eglah Arufah. Kiva says, let's say the Sanhedrin saw the person. Now they saw him. The court was going on a field trip. And they saw that this person killed, there was a murder. They don't know who the guy is, but they saw it. They just don't recognize him. And they still don't do the Eglah Arufah. When part of the ceremony is that they say that our eyes did not see. The problem is here their eyes did see, so they can't do it. Okay, now we go back and we discuss once you say that one witness is believed, which that's what we're saying, that we would trust one witness not to do the Eglah Arufah. Once we say that, So idach chad. Second person that came along and said, "How do you know that? How do you know who it was that killed? You couldn't have known. You don't know that person. You don't know anything. You weren't there or whatever. I don't know how exactly how he knows. Sounds like the Zayman, but it's not using the concept of Zayman yet. It's a similar concept, but it's not saying that Zayman would have to be the two witnesses. We don't have the concept of Zayman here. Somehow they're saying that. Welcome back.
I already finished Sota. Last pages. Last pages, and there
The doctor said.
Buddy Howard. Today.
We're behind a little bit. So, so we have a problem here. It says, once we trusted one witness, so how does the second witness get believed? Now, what's our problem? We have to wait for the next statement. We have a statement from Ula. Ula is our traveler from Eretz Yisrael. He brings these statements. It says, there are certain cases where the Torah trusts one witness. Most cases in the Torah, you need two witnesses. Once in a while, you have a case where you trust one witness. When do you have such a case? Well, if the husband died and the woman wants to get remarried, there's such a case. Or a case like this, where we trust one witness to say that he knows who the murderer is, we don't do the Eglah Arufah. So Ula says that anytime the Torah trusts one witness, we consider that witness as if there's two witnesses. Like we exaggerate his power, we turn him into two, as if he's two. Okay. Once he became two, because he told us someone was killed, he told us he knows who the murderer is. Then how does one witness show up afterwards and take away from the two witnesses? Now, even though that's only a figurative two witnesses, that's not a literal two witnesses. That's as if he's two witnesses, but nevertheless, he's considered like two witnesses. So how can you tell me that one against one, they cancel each other out? It's not. It's really one against two, and one against two should be nothing. We had this Gemara before. It sounds familiar. We had it 20 pages ago. Exact same Gemara, word for word. Rashi says he's not even going to translate it there. There's nothing different. This Gemara than that Gemara. Anyway, Amalachula would say to you, I'll answer this question. To me, what we have to do in the Mishnah is we have to change the words and say, Lo Yihayu Arfin. We have a new case when they didn't do the Eglah Arufah. One witness says, I saw the murder. Other one says, no, you didn't. That's enough. We trust the first witness, we don't trust the second one. Trust the first one because he's considered like two. The second one, there's no halacha that someone that says you didn't see the murder, that he should be like two, he's only like one. And the Mishnah that told us that you do the Arufah, you do break the neck, is being switched now to you don't break the neck. Yeah. And Daf Lamed Aleph, we were talking about. Yeah. This was about the site. Over there, we trusted one witness. If she sinned. Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me, I got a little lost in that last summary. One is considered like two.
Right.
In this case, the one who disagrees, who says he couldn't have done that, is considered like one.
Right.
So now you have two witnesses. So therefore, it seems you would break the neck.
You do not. No, two witnesses would mean you do not. You only break the neck if there's a doubt. We don't know who it is. But if we have witnesses,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it works. It then works the opposite.
Right. Okay.
You have the witness, then you don't. Yeah. Okay. So Rabbi Yitzchak follows. We actually have a teaching from Rabbi Yitzchak that our Mishnah says that they would not break the neck. Why? Because you have one witness. One witness is considered like two. I have another witness that's contesting. He doesn't count because he's only one against two. One against one, but we consider it one against two. However, for Rav Chia, Rav Chia says, Tini Hayuar. Rav Chia, he was like an editor of the Brises. He said, his statement was, he said that what the Mishnah really says is Hayu Arfin, that they would break the neck. That means that they had one witness that should be considered like two, that saw the murder, and we have another witness that's contesting. We cancel them both out, and we break the neck. Gemara says, Rav Chia kasha de Ula. What does Rav Chia do with the statement that Ula brought, that Ula told us, that whenever we have two witnesses, that's considered, whenever we have one witness that's trusted, we consider him like two witnesses. And why should we break the neck? We have two witnesses, and there's only one witness that's saying no. Gemara says, like kasha, there's no question on Rav Chia, because kan vasachas kan b'zachas, that depends. If the two witnesses, here I should say, if the one witness and the other one witness are coming at exactly the same time, then they'll cancel each other out, and we don't have anything here, because we never trusted the first witness yet. He never gave a statement. Before he even started, we already have the second guy that's saying, what are you talking about? So we never accepted it. But if they came b'zachas, first we accepted the one witness. We said, we have a witness. We stopped the Eglah Arufah. We're not going to break the neck. Later on, a witness comes and tells us that witness doesn't really know what he's talking about. So then it's too late. We already stopped it. We don't trust the second witness because the first witness was believed as if he was two. It's one against two. But the difference between Vasachas and Zechazah, that's how we're going to resolve the way Rav Chia learns the Mishnah. The Mishnah says that they would break the neck when it's one against one. It must be that they came at the same time. What was the case of Ula when they came two different times? One witness first came and then a witness came in. Tanan.
The purpose of breaking the neck is kind of because we really don't know who the murderer was. That kind of like nullifies everything. So here, the fact that we do get a witness we trust, it says, I'm assuming the witness says that was the murderer. That's why we don't do the Eglah.
Right. The purpose of the breaking of the neck was to make a big deal about that someone got murdered, and then somehow we would find out who it was, who committed this murder. So if you know who did the murder, this is the logic behind it. You know who did the murder, so then why do you have to do the whole big deal? We caught him already. We can't bring him to judgment for that because we don't have witnesses. Wanted to make a big deal so that it should come to light. Okay. Nan, starting our Mishnah, recording our Mishnah. One witness says, I saw the murder. And two people told him, so you did not see. They break the neck. The Gemara is going to be Medayik. The two witnesses canceled out the first witness. Let's say it would have been one against one. You didn't have two witnesses saying you don't know what you're talking about. You would have only had one witness saying that. But then, like how you are, friend, sounds like you would not break the neck. It would be one against one, and we would trust the first one. This is, similar to what Ula was sort of saying. So, the Rav Chia, this comes out of question on Rav Chia. Rav Chia told us that you do break the neck, even when it's one against one. Because they cancel each other out. It's a kasha on Rav Chia. So the Gemara, I believe, could have answered right here. Gemara couldn't have answered. Shnayim Aimrim Loi Re'isa could have been even B'zeh Chazeh. So B'zeh Chazeh, one after the other one. It's one against one. The Gemara could have answered this very simply. The Gemara could have said it's B'zeh Chazeh. Why do we break the neck now? Why do we not break the neck? Why do we not break the neck of the animal? Because the first witness came independently. We accepted his witness. And the second one, which Rav Chia agreed to. The second one was too late. Rav Chia even agreed to that. Gemara doesn't bother with that because Gemara has a different point to say. Well, the Gemara says, if according to your logic, what you're just doing here is you're taking one case of the Mishnah, you're adjusting it slightly and saying, oh, in that case, the halacha would be different because you adjusted it slightly. But let's take a look at another case. Two people said exactly the opposite. Two people said, Re'ina, we saw the murder. And one person says he didn't see. One person contests. The rule is, why? Because you had two. Two people said they know the murder. Okay.
Do these witnesses replace the trial that will eventually happen? Why can't they just try the case? And then whatever the outcome is,
Maybe he wasn't. They saw the murder, but he didn't warn him. They don't know his intention and all of this. It could be. I mean, it's bring them to capital punishment. It takes a little bit more than just we saw through a spyglass. You know. No, this is not the trial. Should we kill him or not? That's a different story. Here we're just talking about, do we do the Eglah Arufah? Do we do the Eglah Arufah? So someone says, I know who it was. Yeah. Eglah Arufah is only when we don't know anything. Just find the corpse. I'm not sure. But the discussion here is regarding the Eglah Arufah. If the guy gets off, then you wouldn't know, right? Oh, so you're saying we should do the trial first. This is a mini trial. I hear what you're saying. It makes sense. So one witness says, tells the two witnesses that you did not see. So the rule is, they wouldn't do the Eglah Arufah because we have two witnesses and they only have one witness that's contesting. So the two wins, right? 2 against 1, 2 wins. But let's say it would have been 1 against 1. Then they would do the Eglah Arufah. It's exactly the opposite of Ula. This is what Reb Chia said. So the first part of the Mishnah was a kasha on Reb Chia. The diuk was a kasha on Reb Chia. The second part of the Mishnah is a kasha on Ula. It's a proof to Reb Chia. Okay, so obviously, in order to resolve this, because it's called diukim seisra. Half the Mishnah, one part of the Mishnah doesn't state, but implies one thing. The second part of the Mishnah doesn't state, but implies the opposite of what the first implication was. Diukim seisra. What do you do with that? Now, obviously, you can't be medayik this from the Mishnah. You can't imply anything from the Mishnah. So the Gemara says that the Mishnah is actually not teaching me that diuk that you thought it's teaching me. Not 2, but 1, right? That it's not teaching me that diuk, but it's teaching me instead is a totally different halacha. Mishnah is talking about psulei edus, people that are not eligible to testify. Look at Reb Nechemia, and it's coming to teach me the halacha that Reb Nechemia taught. That he said, whenever you have one witness that's believed by psulei edus, by people that aren't eligible to testify, but nevertheless we're going to trust them. So let's say there's a conflict. One says one thing, another says another thing. You have to go by the majority. If it would have been kosher witnesses, then you 2 witnesses is trei kameya. 2 is like 100. It doesn't matter if another 100 witnesses say anything. You already had 2. But here, when it's puzzle, then you follow the majority. It says halacha charev deis. V'asu shtei nashim b'shechad, shnei nashim b'shechad. 2 women testifying against 1 man is still like 2 against 1. Follow the majority. We talk about the man would be possible or whatever, or maybe it doesn't have to be possible because he's just 1. So it's 2 against 1. Okay, so that it's teaching me that halacha that we'll trust when we're dealing with psulei edus. We're trusting 2 because 2 is different than 1. It's not telling me that it's only because it's 2, but 1 the halacha would be different. That's not our point over here. Our point is psulei edus you follow. Then it was don't be medayik what you thought you were going to be. Don't imply what you thought the implication was. Vikadamri, there are those that say slightly different. It says kol hechad asay dechad kasher meikara. If one witness, a kosher witness, came originally, afilu meya nashim kiechad dami, then even 100 women that come afterwards are only considered like 1 witness. It's a different statement of Reb Nechemia. So what are we dealing with here? And the asi isha meikara. A woman came first. And we're going to explain Reb Nechemia as follows. Anytime that the Torah trusts 1 witness, you follow the majority. So what's going to be over here? two women against another woman, that would be kishnei anashim b'ish echad. That would actually be like two men against one man. Aval shtei nashim b'ish echad. But two women against one man, that's different. It's only two women against one woman that we would follow majority, but two women against one man, that would be kipalga palga davi. That would make it half and half. That would be considered equal. Yeah. Right. Right.
Only for possible.
Yeah, and it would cancel each other out. So now the Gemara asks, if we're talking about psuleidus, because one of the cases in the Mishnah was a woman, now you're telling me that the Eidecha was also, or Shtayim was also psuleidus. What you just did over here is you said everything is all invalid witnesses, and that's all teaching me Rabbi Nechemia. Don't be medayik anything else. So why do you need all these cases about invalid witnesses? It says, Mao, the time I could have thought, so when do you follow the majority? That's only if you're being strict, because you want to make the Eglah Arufah. You want to do the ceremony. But to be lenient, not to do the ceremony, how would you know that you also follow the majority over there? That's why we have the other case.
About 3 women and 1 man.
It seems like it doesn't matter. It would be half and half.
Is there a time frame for the Eglah Arufah?
I don't think so.
Murder?
I don't think so. I don't know about that. Mishurabah writes from the Mishnah. One of the things the Mishnah said is that when murders increase, they stop doing the Eglah Arufah. So Gemara explains, Tan Rabbanan quotes a Brisa, Mishurabah writes from Batla Eglah Arufah. When there was increase in murders, they stopped the Eglah Arufah if Yishena Ba Ella Ala Safek, because the Eglah Arufah came to clarify the doubt. We would do this so that there should make a big commotion, and then people would start to talk, and then maybe we'd be able to find out, we'd be able to bring some justice in. But
what does it refer an uptick in murder rate? Like 12 more
it
murders?
doesn't tell us the ratio. Or once people started to murder in the open, it was right. There was also a purpose for it. Right now, you see over here, the people we knew who the murderers were, and they weren't being brought to justice because there were too many. It was too difficult. So then, what's the point of doing the Eglah Arufah to bring them to justice? If we have murders going on, there's gangs or whatever, and it's you have to catch them on tax evasion, right? Okay. When the adulterers increased, then they stopped doing the sight of water. Man will be innocent from sin after he brings his wife, and whatever happens, he'll be innocent. The Gemara learns from that pasuk that if the man is innocent from sin, so then the water can check his wife. But the man needs to be perfect. He can't have committed any sins. But if the man is not perfect from sin, he's not clean, then the water doesn't check his wife. They don't know. That's the problem. They said, well, she didn't blow up. She didn't explode. So it turns out that it could be that the wife was guilty. And so why didn't she explode? Because the husband sinned. So it would start to cast doubts on, does this water really work?
Is that what we learned the first time? I thought we learned the first time that she was spoke with the people with all sorts.
No, I didn't know that. What we learned was that the adulterer, what's it called? Paramore would explode somewhere out on the Gulf
Oh,
Coast.
the paramount.
Right. As she's exploding.
Knew someone else was.
We may have learned this already, but with respect to the avera of the ball.
You mentioned it. Right.
Is it what avera exactly is it? Is it an avera with it can't be just being with another woman, because that's allowed. It has to be
No, it's referring to
the married woman.
Well, yeah, we're gonna mention that. We're gonna mention that in a minute.
Okay.
Just in a minute.
It's like a worse variation of teenage traditional. I mean, like nowadays, you say a lot of people, you don't even judge me as that because it's a generation that's just really outside of those people. It's a teenage traditional generation. Here, we kind of have this saying, you know what? They're all murderers. They're all adulterers. Let's not judge anybody anymore. What's going on? It's like, what's somebody just say, you're not the point.
It's complicated.
He's just saying that it doesn't work. It won't technically work.
You're just accepting reality.
No, he's asking a question like, let's say the whole world becomes electronic. Like everything, everywhere you walk, and the doors open for you, and the lights, and everything. It would be impossible to keep jobs. How would we deal with it? Like when things become impossible, what happens? What's the do you just say just drop everything? That's
No,
you're asking something like that. You just drop everything when things become
That's what
impossible.
it's kind of
The lake
sounds.
what is that? That's a good
We're gonna
question, because
rethink it.
Because it does work with certain people. Why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
You have some people that are not.
Yeah, we're gonna say that it's not gonna look good for the water. It's gonna so we just stop it because
No justice.
it stops telling us really because it doesn't work so often. So we stop doing it.
So what about people that?
Yeah,
Because that
the
concept
question.
is applied across many different levels.
So the problem is that the people that need it. Okay, so they take her to drink the water. She doesn't explode. She explodes. Okay, fine, but she doesn't explode. Can she go back to the husband? Well, we don't know. Maybe he was also good. So it's because it doesn't work so often. So even when it works, we don't know if it's working.
Because everybody
Because
in that generation is doing
Right.
something
Right. So we don't know if the waters are working. Even when they're working, we don't know if it's working.
I blame the school system.
There's always a reasonable doubt.
No, it's like these tests, like a strep test. Like it works. Let's say it works 50% of the time. So, but what if you need it? So you take it, and now did it work? It didn't do it. How do you know? Could be it's the time that it doesn't. Could be.
And we learned that it can be, and we learned that it can work, but delayed for 3 years. I said, we learned that it can work, but be delayed in action for 3 years.
That was another issue, but that delay was not a real issue because the delay she would first start to deteriorate. Yeah, and it would be specific how she deteriorated.
And in a way that people could see.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. So and we have another pasuk. The Mishnah quoted a pasuk. I will not punish your daughters because they're committing adultery, and your daughters-in-law also, and whatever. My vaymer, why do we need the second pasuk? We already have the Mishnah, the pasuk from the Torah that says that if the person is innocent, if the man is innocent, then it will check his wife. And we have the next pasuk. I'm not going to punish your daughters. Why do we need the second pasuk? Maybe I could have thought, when does the Sota water not work? That's only if it's his own sin. The banase lie, but for his sons and daughters, it will work. It won't work for them either. Now, I'm not sure if it means when the sons, it won't work. It won't work because the father sinned. It won't work for them, or it won't work for the mother because the sons and daughters are sinning. How to explain it in English? Who's being brought there? And so therefore it won't work for their mother, or it won't work for them.
Your daughters because they commit idolatry, and your daughters-in-law because they commit.
And therefore it won't work for who? Who's being tested? Who's being checked by the Sota? The mother, you mean? The mother. So when the daughters sin, the husband needs to be pure, and the sons and daughters need to be pure for the waters to work. That's what it sounds like. Okay, and if you'll say Avain Eishasish in Avain de Pnei, maybe it's talking about the Reb Naftali question. Is this talking about that the husband committed adultery with a married woman? That's the issue. But if he just lives with a single girl, that would be fine. Tashma ki heim ama zainis yipardu v'amakdeshis yizabechu. No, it's they're separating. They're going to be with prostitutes and with other prostitutes. They're sacrificing. So, which means that even if it's not married women, even if it's just single women, the same thing applies. My va'am layabit layavin yalabit. What does it mean? The nation that doesn't understand will be distraught. Amar Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar says, Amalem Navi Yisrael, the prophet is all from Hosea, right? The prophet says to the Jewish people, if you're careful with yourselves, that the water will judge you, will examine your wife. And if not, water will not examine your wife. Okay, that's what it means. That means you'll be distraught because you'll never be able to figure out what's actually going on, because you'll never know. You'll always be in the doubt. Did the wife commit adultery or not? And you don't have the water to use it. Okay, Misharabu Bali Ana, when people that were following their own pleasures increased, then Nisavsu Adinim, judgment became corrupt, and Niskalkala Maisim, and actions became corrupt. There was no peace in the world. When people would start to look at their faces and court, which basically means they would give priority over other people, like who they would, in judgment. So then, guru pasak kiru. What stopped is people were starting to be afraid of the stronger people and the wealthy people. The judges were afraid of them, and they would actually recognize. You're not supposed to recognize people in court. Yeah, they would cover in the olden days. The Dayanim would put a talus over their face. Yeah. They wouldn't look at them. They would just listen. Yeah, actually, well, we have that Gemara in Gittin where the Sanhedrin had to leave the place because they're really not allowed to. They're not allowed. Okay. Parku al Shemayim. I think today they believe that that seeing the people is not effective. I think there's like this theory out there that when they give bail, do you know about this? Do you believe that? When they do bail, they gave all the information to a computer, and they gave it to the information to the judge. It turned out the computer got it better than just the information without seeing the people had a better results. When you look at the people, you actually don't. It doesn't help you. It only corrupts you. So AI should become anyway. Right. So it's only whatever information you give it. So uparku al shamayim, and they took off the yoke of heaven, and they put on themselves the yoke of human beings. Mishrabu leichshe lechishes. When the increase of lawyers came, now this is talking about that the judges were acting like lawyers. Then Rabba Charein after Yisrael, because they would like whisper to the whisperers. They would say, "Don't say that. Why don't you say this?" So there was anger came to Israel, and the Shechina left. Remember, amongst in the midst of God, they judge.
So this is what the sidebar is. They walk up to the judge and
I guess so.
yes. So
whisper to the judge. They argue out of the jury's.
We know historically what time period they stopped doing
I'm not sure, but I know there's another Mishnah in Gittin where it says that when the Sanhedrin needed to leave the place, they couldn't sit there because there were so many murderers that they couldn't bring it to judgment anymore. So it's like out of control. Yisharabu achrei bitsam libam, after their betza is like personal gain. After their heart went after the personal gain. After personal gain, the heart went. Then Rabbo Aimrim, then the increase of the rat table tevra, that the wicked are good and the good are wicked. He started to praise the wicked. When he started to praise the wicked, Rabbo Hay Hay Bailam, then it became whoa whoa. Right? Misharabbu Maishche Harait. It's an expression, people that prolong their spit. That an expression for that's supposed to be referring to arrogance. So Rabba Yehirim, the arrogant people increased, and Smatra Talmidim, and the students decreased. And the Torah returned to those that study it. What Machizeres means would be seeking someone to study it. Chizeres means we're going around seeking. Rabba Yehirim, when the arrogant increased, then the Jewish girls would marry the arrogant. The generation only sees the external face, and the guy wears cool sunglasses, so they would marry him. Right?
That's key. That's key. You don't think about
The coolness factor. They had other types of things that made them look cool.
Bad boy.
Is that really so? That the women would find someone that was arrogant to marry, but the master taught anyone that's arrogant, even the members of his house won't accept him. That's basically Rabbi Ginsburg's whole book. You know, the mystery of marriage, based on this line of the Gemara. Yeah. That's the whole book on one foot. Now I'll go and read it. You can get through it. Now when you read it, now it'll work. The man is arrogant and he was not beautiful. He won't be beautiful even in his own home. The word nava could mean a home. It could also mean beautiful. Nava, with an aleph, which is the meaning. Nave is a home, an abode. It could be also beautiful. So we have a question over here that the women are marrying the arrogant man, and then it says that the women don't like the arrogant man. It says originally they liked it, but l'seif mitzaleh, in the end they looked down on it. They looked down on him. Mishrabu matile malay al balabatim. This is when the judges would give over their businesses for the balabatim to invest. So Rabba Sheikhad, and obviously when they're getting their dividends, so then basically it's coming straight from the people that are coming to court. But Tayas Mishpat Paska Teva, the judgment was corrupt and the good things stopped. Mishrabba Makabli Tevascha. This is the expression when it was the increase of I will accept what you give me. Mechazkeni Tevascha. It's good what you gave me. So then Rabba would increase Isha Yasha Bein of Yasa. It increased any man what's good in his eyes will do. That means like there's no judgment. Shvalim Hugvu, those that were low are raised up. Agoyim Hushvalu, and those that are high were put down. Malchusa Ozlav and Avla, and the kingdom just continues to decline. When the stingy increased and the greedy increased, Rabba Mamti Lev. So then people closed their hearts. They even stopped lending. And they violated what it says in Torah, Shamalachapen. You have to be careful not to close your heart from giving a loan. When there was increase of those that stretch their necks, those that have false eyes, it means that they paint their eyes. The Rabbo Mayim Marim. Then, because the women were beautifying themselves with eye paint.
Winking eyes.
Oh, that's what it means, winking eyes over there?
It says.
I thought it was painting eyes. So then, what is it?
Here it says wanton, W-A-N.
Wanton. Uh-huh.
Alluring. Strange.
I thought it was a Chinese food.
Wanton, yeah.
So then, there was increased of the Sota waters because there was more adultery. The only thing is, the only problem is that they stopped doing the Sota, so it's a problem. Misharabu makabli matanis, when the increase of people accepting gifts, nesmai to ayamim, and people lived less than eskatz rashanim, and the years were made smaller. The ksiv matanis yecheh, someone that hates gifts will live a long time. And, well, in general, there's another Gemara about gifts, and
This is only the receiver, right? It's not the one who's giving.
yeah, the receiver. Misharabu zachuche alev, when the arrogance of heart increased, Rabba machlekes b'Yisrael, then the increase of machlekes. The arrogant means that people that would say, I don't need to listen to his explanation. I figured everything out on my own. So that's what so then there's a lot of machlekes. Misharabu talmidei hil v'shamish leishim shekol tzarkan, when there was an increase of the students of hil v'shameh that did not serve fully, and they didn't learn everything well. There was so much going on, the teachers couldn't handle the big crowds. So then, Rabba machlekes b'Yisrael, then there became a lot of arguments. No one really understood what was being said. And everything got divided. And we started to accept tzedakah from the non-Jews. The Jewish people were above and they were below. Turns out that what this Gemara means is exactly the opposite. It doesn't want to say it. That the Jewish people were below and they were above. Israel was inside and they were outside, but it really means the opposite. Because we're not supposed to accept tzedakah from the non-Jews. It doesn't like it doesn't like to say anything negative. So Seineim shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu or Seineim shel Yisrael, and it really means Yisrael. It's a euphemistic way of it.
What about the going that donate so much to Israel, which
Right.
really benefits it?
Right. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I know there was a yeshiva that they had a neighbor that gave them like $1 million. So you're not supposed to take stuff from, at least what the yeshiva said, not to the guy. They said they bought like a lot of toilet paper.
It's the same concept of everything else we spoke about, like when somebody gives, it has control.
Right. Right.
Same thing.
Right. You follow that? That's the thing? Okay.
His control is doing it.
Yeah. No, I don't believe that they really used it on. What they mean was that we use it on everything, but theoretically that went to toilet paper. No.
So they couldn't refuse it. Or they chose not to refuse it.
They chose not to review it. No, they would not tell it to them. So they told the other people that asked, how were you allowed to do that? Okay. The jealous people, that's what they told it to. Yosef ben Yezer, when Yosef ben Yezer passed away, so it says Batla Ashkela. The clusters stopped. I'm Rav Yudah Mishmal Ishak called by. What is Ashkela? That means someone that has everything. It's like a Renaissance person. Okay. He learns well, he understands, and he remembers. Okay, Yochanan Kain Gadol Hever Idea Samaiser. He removed the what's it called, how do you say viday? The confession of Meiser. When you would bring the Meiser Sheni, you would have to give this say this viday Meiser, that I did everything that I was told, and I brought the Meiser there, and I gave to the Kayan, and I didn't eat it when I wasn't allowed. And all that. Okay, so now 1 second. My timer. Why did Yochanan Kain Gadol is that famous Kain Gadol that at the end of his life became a Tzeduki, but whatever the case is, he before that he stopped the Vidim Meiser. My timer. Why did he stop it? Rav Yosef Bachanina explained. We say nice katikuna because they didn't give it properly. Rahman Amar Hashem says the Avi Leviim. Meiser is supposed to be given to the Leviim. Banan Baras Kiyavin Lakayanim. We give it to the Kayanim. Why do we give it to the Kayanim? Because Rashi brings that Ezra made a penalty on the Kayanim, on the Leviim. Yeah, that's a good question. What did he do from then until then? Very good question. Ezra made a
He
penalty.
said veto.
Ezra made a penalty on the Levium that they did not return to Eretz Yisrael when the by the Aliyah, the second base of English, and only 42,360 came back. Levium, a lot of them stayed. She said, "Okay, you're going to lose out on your meiser. Now it goes to the Kainim." So the Gemara asks, "Veludei Ashar meisers." So okay, that's just meiser rishon, but why don't they say the videi on the other meisers? So it says, "Amar Yishlakish kol baya shein misvada al meiser rishon shuvein misvada al shar meisers." If you can't say the first one, then you can't say the rest. It says, "Nasata la Levi lager b'sharecha." You're supposed to be saying the other things, but the first one you can't even start. If you could have started, you said the other ones, and then you would stop before the Levi. Fine, but the Levi comes first. In my timer. Amar Abaye Hayel Pasuk because of Tefillah, because the Pasuk starts with that. Eglah, this tells us that they wouldn't give their meisters to the right place, but they would give it. Eglah dafrushu have a mafreshu, but they would actually separate it, and they would give it. But Tanya, we have a brayse afu bitlas avidoy because al demai that this same Yochanan Kain Gadol, besides annulling the vidoy, the confession of meisters, he also made a gzeira about demai. He sent out messengers on all the borders of Israel. Saw that they were only separating the Truma Gedela. It came to the first tithe and to the second tithe, wasn't necessarily being done. Why are you separating the Truma, which is the first gift, which is 2%, Tremi Meya? Why are you separating? Because there's a death penalty from heaven. But you should know that in the meiser that you give, there's another death penalty. There's in the meiser you have to take out meiser mina meiser, trumas meiser, which also has the same punishment, and you're not doing that. Aman behiskin lam made a decree. Anyone that buys fruits from an aretz, mafresh meiser sheni meiser mafresh mina trumas meiser. You have to separate the first tithe and the second tithe. From the first tithe, you have to separate the tithe from the tithe, which goes to the kayin. Nice and kayin. Meiser sheni, what do you do with the second tithe? You have to bring it to your slime. Meiser rishon or meiser ani, the first tithe and the tithe which goes to the poor. Then hamaytz mechavel avaraya. Now you're separating it all because of a doubt. So we don't know if it's really an obligation because it could be the Amaretz did separate it, and it could be he didn't. You have to separate it just to be sure. So you don't have to actually give it to him. You could keep it and you could eat it unless you can prove that it wasn't taken. Otherwise, whenever there's a question about who owns it, so it stays in the person that's holding it. So the Gemara is asking here that it seems from the Videi Meiser that everyone was separating their Meiser. And now it seems that they weren't separating their Meiser. It says Tarti Tikkun. There's 2 points. Bittul Videi de Chaverim. Those that were separating the Meiser, the Chaverim, so he stopped them from saying the confession. But then there was another decree where he stopped where he said that people weren't separating at all, and he said that they have to separate because of the doubt. He also canceled the awakeners. My Ma'arim, what do you mean awakeners? Every day the Levium would stand on the platform by Hashem. Wake up, why do you sleep, Hashem? He said to them, what are you saying? Hashem sleeps. Like for Ne'amar, they would sing this, yeah. They would say, but we have a verse that says, behold, the guardian of Israel neither sleeps nor slumbers. Rather, what's happening is that the Jewish people are suffering, but the nations are at peace. It looks like Hashem is sleeping. But he stopped it so that it shouldn't be misunderstood. It's a noikvim in the bangers, strikers. My noikvim, what are the bangers or the strikers? Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Shayim Asart and Eglah being kind of the Dam Beinav. What happened is they want the blood on an animal before it was shechted. They wanted to the blood. They would bang it on the head, and the blood would drip down into the eyes. It would blind it a little bit, so it wouldn't see what's happening. But But Asiyu Batal, he stopped it. He says, it looks like you're making a blemish. It wasn't a blemish, but it looks like a blemish. Masnisa Tana, Bryce said, they would bang it with a stick like they would do in front of an idol. This is because you have to take an animal and put it on the ground. It wasn't so easy. You have to wrestle with it. So here they would bang it. Why are you feeding nevela, non-kosher animals to the altar? It says nevelas, it's non-kosher. They're shechting it. Elatrefus, what we mean is that maybe it's a trefa. The trefa means that it wouldn't have survived the year. Shemanik of Krim Shalmayach, maybe the meninges in the head would get pierced. And Amar Veskalan Tabais Bekarta. So what he did instead was he put these rings in the ground that should be able to hold the animal tight, so he should be able to do the slaughtering. Until his days, it was a hammer that would bang in Yerushalayim. What's the hammer? We explained when we went to Mishnah that was on Cholamayit, and because people were allowed to do work on Cholamayit if it was a loss. All his days, no one need to ask about the Mai. That's if they bought it from a chaver, they bought it from someone that was trusted for his meiser. There was a decree that anyone that bought from someone that was trusted, that the person that sold it to them already took the meiser. They didn't have to ask if it was taken already. The Dhamma, as we just explained higher up on this page. Okay, should we put in an extra hour today? Because today we're supposed to be finishing. We fell behind 2 pages. You want to learn after Myra?
Oh, you mean tonight? Woo! Nighttime learning.